edition of Atticus Chardonnay Chat. For those of you who don't know me, my name is May McGarver and I'm joined by my colleague from Atticus, Marjo today. Welcome, Marjo.
Thank you.
And we have a very special guest, Darren. Welcome from Pivotal Data Solutions.
Thank you, May. Thank you, Marjo.
So Darren, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a managed service provider, so I look after small businesses, 10 to 20 computers, help them manage their computers, manage their network, and help them move to the cloud, do that securely, and then gain the benefits from the move to the cloud.
So Darren, we're here today to talk about something that's definitely a specialty of yours, which is online security. And in particular, I wanted to start with one of our top tips for improving your online security, which is to do with passwords.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you've been working with Atticus, and you know I'm very guilty of having the same password for a lot of applications. So tell us a little bit about why that's not ideal anymore.
So the problem is now, we have, in the last 3 years alone, the number of services that we have that require email address, for example, and a password to log in has more than doubled. And in 2016 alone, second point, in 2016 alone, 3.3 billion sets of credentials were exposed in data breaches, just data breaches. 67 million of those were valid Google account credentials. So it's common to have your email address and your password as credentials. So using the same password and email address means that you can get into multiple services if your credentials are stolen.
So Darren, if I had an old Gmail account that I don't really use anymore and it was in that 67 million figure, what's the risk to me?
Well, the problem is your identity. So there may be nothing in that account that is of particular use, but the problem is, what if, imagine a criminal can communicate with your friends and colleagues, and your friends and colleagues can't tell the difference between you or the criminal communicating with them. So that's the scary bit, once your account's hijacked.
Yeah. So in a small business setting, this could be disastrous because an email could be sent, if your credentials were stolen, an email could be sent to the accounts department to change a bank account or something.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. Actually, one of my customers had the same thing happen with a subcontractor, where the subcontractor rang up and said, "Hey, you haven't paid my bill." And they said, "Yes, we did. We paid it a week ago. We paid it on time. You sent us an email that changed the bank account."
Wow.
The subcontractor's account, Gmail account, had been hacked.
Wow. So that brings us to our second tip we wanted to talk about, Darren. In any small business and even in our personal lives, we have so many different emails and passwords. Like you said, it's tripled in the last few years. So how do we manage all of these passwords so they're not just stuck on an office wall, which is clearly not secure, and not that we would ever do that. Thank you to you, Darren.
Here.
No post-it notes. So how do we manage all this? How does small business or even personal life do we manage this?
So what you have now, you have password managers. So look, the notebook, a black notebook in the drawer is not a huge problem as long as it's in and out of the way. It is a problem in small business though,
Yes.
but for personal it's not horrible. But a much more effective way of doing it, a much more convenient way, is actually a password manager. The LastPass, Dashlane, KeePass, you can research all of those online, are all good password managers. So then you don't have to worry about passwords, it's just your passphrase or your master passphrase. One password to rule them all, to coin a phrase,
So you've used the word passphrase. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that means? What is that?
So passphrase is, rather than these complex passwords that are impossible to remember with nines and ones and exclamation marks and blah, blah, blah. A long passphrase or a password, it doesn't matter what you call it, but with passphrase to say that it's long and easy to read. Something like the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. It's nice and long. That is exponentially more complex, or i.e. harder to crack, than a shorter, complex password that you can't remember. So yeah, that's passphrase. People are talking about passphrase a lot more now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you're talking about having a password manager and your master password, or should be a passphrase, I guess, because you want it to be impossible to crack.
Yep.
That's great. So is it going to cost me a lot of money to set up one of these password managers?
No, in fact, all of those that I mentioned have a free version, and even the paid version is something like $20 or $30 per year. And the benefit you get then is you can securely share passwords. So another thing you shouldn't do is email a password, yeah. But you can securely share with the paid versions.
Great.
So one of the last tips that we wanted to talk about was this concept of multi-factor authentication. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so multi-factor is, if you've been doing online banking, which pretty much everybody has, and that code that you get when you pay somebody new, that's a multi-factor. So it's your password is something that you know, and your multi-factor, the second factor, is something you have. So it's a separate mobile phone, or it could be a little dongle, that has a code on it. And they're getting really, really convenient now, where instead of typing the code in, you just push approve. So you try to log in on your computer, it pops up on your phone and says, I noticed a login, is this you? Approve or decline.
We've been noticing that being introduced more and more lately with many of our client products like MYOB and Xero, so that will start to roll out more and more with cloud services. And I've got the LastPass Authenticator, and it's great. I just click approve on my mobile and it's done. It's been such a productivity saver from that point of view.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So thank you, Darren. This has been really helpful, and I really appreciate your practical advice on how businesses can get started. Are you available for other businesses to help like you do with us? Yeah,
more than happy to. It's mostly just talking to people and getting them to understand the risks and understand that it is actually easy to do, because it's 90% people, 10% technology.
Yeah, which means just talking about how we can avoid having our identity stolen and what we need to be careful of.
Absolutely. So yeah, more than happy to talk to businesses, small businesses especially, about that. Yeah.
Great. Well, Darren's contact details will be in the details below this video. So thank you so much, Darren. We really appreciate your time, and Marjo as well for joining us. And to you, our friends, family, supporters and clients, we are very appreciative of you joining us on the latest edition of Atticus Chardonnay Chat. Thank you.
Thank you,
Cheers.
mate. Thank you, Marjo.